Good morning everyone, and it is an early morning. We met at the DOTr office around 4:30 a.m. Today I'm joining iACT. You can see we're already here in PITX. It's around 5 a.m. now. PITX, it's been a little bit controversial because yes, in principle it's a very good idea, but in practice there's been a few hiccups. But the thing you have to remember is this only opened like 1 month ago. So there are going to be problems, there are going to be hiccups. The important thing is that they don't just pretend like there's no problem. If you speak to the DOTr, they say yes, there are problems, but we're finding solutions to address those problems. So what are some of those problems? Well, one of them is that getting the buses and the commuters here at the same time, because what they've had in the past is they get all the buses to go here and then there's not enough commuters, or they get all the commuters to go here and then the buses aren't here because they're in McLaren picking up passengers. So what they're trying to do is force all of the commuters, all of the buses here at the same time, so both of them are happy. There's still a lot of work to be done, but I think they can fix it, and I think in the long run it should help commuters. In the short run it is a little bit uncomfortable. I know a lot of people are experiencing minor issues, sometimes major issues, but they are working on improving it, so let's go. Now, one of the complaints from commuters has been that they come inside the building, it's multiple stories, it's very wide, it's very long, they don't know where to go. This is a new sign. Now, I'm guessing this is just temporary because it doesn't look great, to be honest, and it's just tarpauling. But the important thing is it gives information. They've identified the problem and they've come up with an immediate solution. And then what they can do in the long term is actually install proper signs, you know, the ones that hang down like at the airport. This will serve people for now, and it's very good that they've done this, but long term they need to install the bigger signs just like the airport. Now the truth is, even when the problems with PITX are fixed, some people will still be unhappy. Why? Because it's not as convenient as before. Before they could just ride one provincial bus and it would take them, you know, most of the journey. Now they have to go down to PITX and transfer to a city bus. And you might wonder, well, why are they doing that? Well, they want to get things in order inside the city. They want to reduce the number of buses that are flying EDSA, and they want them to be the right kind of buses. If you look at these provincial buses, they're more like coaches. They're not ideal for city use. What they want inside the city are low floor buses. They're easier to get on and off, they have better support for PWDs, and if you look at the newer ones, of course they have better engines, Euro 4, Euro 5. Part of the PUV modernization program is buses. They are modernizing the buses, especially the city buses. So there are reasons for doing this. It's also about efficiency. They don't want lots of half-empty provincial buses roaming around Manila, Metro Manila. They want them to be city buses. So there are reasons, but some commuters are always going to dislike this no matter what. This is one of the new motorcycles that the MMDA purchased. They look amazing. I heard that on really long trips they can overheat, but for everyday use by an enforcer they seem to perform very well. So time for a briefing. You have MMDA, you have HPG, you have LTO, and then you have organic iACT staff.
All provincial buses bypassing PITX should be issued ticket.
So the team are now here in McLaren. What they're looking out for is provincial buses that are turning right. It means they're skipping PITX. You can see LTO are moving in now to try and flag over this bus. What they're doing is the provincial buses are going here, then they're picking up passengers in McLaren. They want to get all of the commuters, all of the buses into PITX, so everything can be organized. So you can see the LTO are just writing out the ticket now. That's 1,000 peso. It's not huge, but it's a reasonable amount that the driver would feel it if they keep doing it every day. You can see the LTO are doing things like checking the roadworthiness of Jeepneys. This one here they stopped because the driver isn't wearing a seatbelt, so they'll issue a ticket for that. They're also looking out for things like loading, unloading illegally, because there's a sign up there that says no loading and unloading anytime. Various things they're looking out for, and I can see one of the LTO are moving in now to stop a motorcycle. It might be because of the unauthorized helmet on the back passenger. It looks like a bicycle helmet. So I just verified now with the LTO enforcer, it is for a substandard or unauthorized helmet. It's a bicycle helmet. In fact, I don't even know if it's a bicycle helmet. It looks like a flimsy piece of plastic. It certainly doesn't have an ICC sticker. And if you look at the temporary plate on the back, you can see half of it is missing. The problem with that is if it's involved in an accident, it will be harder to trace. If it's illegally parked, they can't write out a ticket because it's missing some of the digits. In fact, that's one of the problems the MMDA have been running into lately.
they're not towing anymore, they're just issuing tickets. But if they come across a motorcycle that has a missing plate, for instance, it just says for registration, or half of the plate is missing, they can't issue a ticket. And they're stopping this motorcycle rider here. You can see he's wearing a construction helmet. That's actually a very common thing, but certainly not allowed. It should be a proper motorcycle helmet. And they just flagged down this city bus now. They're asking for the license. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt, so they issue a ticket and then send him on his way. Flagging over this Jeepney now. I'm not sure why. Maybe because there's a bunch of people hanging off the back. Unfortunately, that's the reality during rush hour. Sometimes there's just not enough public transport and people have to hang off the back. It's dangerous, but people are just trying to get to the office, trying to get to their families, trying to get to school. One more taxi here, they've stopped, unfortunately not wearing a seatbelt. Right now there's some riders escorting a Jeepney. I'm not sure why. Let's see what's going on. Maybe it's a Colorum Jeep. There are a lot of Jeepneys that are unregistered and unfranchised. So I just verified now the problem with this one is it was out of line. It was plying a route where it's not allowed. I think out of line is basically impoundable, so 3 months impounding. Okay, looks like they're flagging down this Jeep. Well, it's going a little bit fast. There you go. What's the violation? What I'm seeing is buses coming around the corner there, then suddenly cutting across all of the lanes so they can load and unload here. But you can see a big sign there, no loading and unloading anytime. And over here another sign, no loading, unloading anytime. So not only are they nearly causing accidents by cutting across all of those lanes, but they're not allowed to load and unload here anyway. The good thing is that further along the MMDA are issuing tickets to them for illegal unloading. You can see that there are now commuters in the third lane trying to get a ride. This is what happens is the buses and the Jeepneys condition people because what they do is they say, hey, we're not going to pull over to the side and pick you up at the designated spots. You have to come into the road and jump on. And it's quite dangerous and it's not really fair for commuters that they're forced into that position. And these commuters can actually get tickets for jaywalking. Here's some pretty nice Christmas decorations on this condo building. The crazy thing is, for those buses that were loading, unloading here, they only have to go a little bit further over there to the loading, unloading area, and there'll be no problem. This car has been parked here for a while now. Right next to the sign it says no parking both sides. So HPG have gone over to speak to him now. Now, of course, one of the other complications here in McLaren is all the vendors that occupy the first lane, second lane, sometimes even the third lane. That forces commuters further out into the road because the buses physically can't pull over sometimes, and same with the Jeepneys. The problem is that here in McLaren the vendors are permitted by the city, they are permitted by the barangay. Although they limit them to certain areas, the reality is that when you give an inch they take a mile, and that's one of the issues here in McLaren. This is good to see. This is the kind of thing you often don't catch on camera. One of the enforcers helping a gentleman that has some mobility issues. See, the LTO are dealing with this truck here. I wonder what the violation is. Let's verify. So I just verified now, not wearing seatbelt. And I have to say I like today's LTO team. It's the most active I've ever seen. They've really got sharp eyes. They're running around, like if someone tries to evade them, they're running after them. It might seem a bit excessive, but if you cannot enforce the law, or if you do not enforce the law, people will not take you seriously. And that is one of the problems right now, that some people don't take enforcers seriously. So LTO, good job. Here you go, one more Jeepney, unfortunately not wearing a seatbelt. Actually, a lot of private cars complain, hey, I got a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt, but how about Jeepney drivers? None of them are wearing seatbelts. So they are apprehending them and issuing tickets. It's 1,000 pesos. It's a pretty hefty penalty. And saying that, here's a private car, no seatbelt, unfortunately. You'll see the MMDA street sweepers are here also. They'll clean up all of this trash, sweep that water into the drainage, try and keep the area a little bit cleaner. I was told that traffic enforcers from the LGU would join the operation today to augment the team, but I don't think that's going to happen because it's already been a couple of hours and they're not here. So it will just be the small iACT team that you saw at the briefing. There's been a report that a Colorum bus has been captured and the driver's actually fighting enforcers, so HPG are moving in now. So this is the terminal here, but this is the bus that they're looking at. It was loaded up with passengers. They said it's Colorum, doesn't have a franchise. There's still some passengers inside. They're unloading now and getting a refund. Apparently the driver has run away, probably because he knows what's going to happen. This bus, if it's Colorum, will be impounded. To get it back, they'll have to pay 1 million pesos, and it will be impounded for a minimum of 3 months. So you can see they've collected the tickets back and they're refunding all the passengers that were on the bus. You can see here some of the passengers are still trying to unload their stuff. inconvenient for passengers, and they have no way to know that this bus is okay or not okay, so you can't blame the passengers. And more stuff being unloaded from the bus. And if you look on the side of the bus, you can see there's no markings either. That's always a big red flag when you see a bus that doesn't have any markings. If I remember correctly, we've been to this terminal before with the chairman of the MMDA, and I think they found a colorum here before. I can't be 100% sure because, you know, I visited so many terminals, but I think this might have been one of the terminals. And you'll see the tow truck from MMDA is already here. They'll be taking the bus away, impounding it. That's, like I said, to get it back 1 million peso plus 3 months impounding. So far I've only seen one bus that was apprehended for skipping PITX. It might be because they've had intensive operations since Monday and today is Wednesday. Although from what I also heard, it's the evening time that they have the problem with right now, where the buses are skipping PITX. So perhaps I'll have to join them one evening and see how things are then. Anyway, let's go to PITX and see how everything is inside. Now, one of my concerns is the number of vendors that are starting to appear inside PITX. Before they were only outside, but now there are some inside. And the thing is, once you allow 1, 2, 3 or 4 vendors, a lot more will come, because they'll say, well, if you're allowing them, you should also allow us. And then you might say, well, right now it's not a problem, but in a year it will be a problem. And by that point, the vendors will be saying, it's not fair to move us on. We've been here for a year. This is our livelihood. We'll only go if you find us an alternative space. And things become a lot more complicated. So I think it's something that the management of PITX need to think about, maybe using their own security to clear this area. Because as the vendors grow, they will also occupy more space. People won't be able to walk here anymore. They'll walk in the road. It's going to cause congestion, it's going to cause traffic. Maybe even some of the buses will stop here because they're going to buy snacks and things from the vendors. So it doesn't seem like a big problem now, but maybe in a year's time it will be. So just something to be aware of. So over here is the correct place for the jeepneys to unload and then load over here. Now this brings up one of the other issues with PITX. Some of the jeepneys don't want to come inside because they're worried they're going to get apprehended. They don't have a registration, they don't have a franchise. If you notice, these are modernized Jeeps, so they're not scared to go in here because they know they have the correct paperwork. But the older Jeeps, many of them are avoiding PITX because of that. So that's another thing they have to address. There are a lot of colorum jeepneys on the road. If you look over here, another modernized jeepney. You'll notice they have windows. Why? Because they have aircon on board. Some of them have free Wi-Fi. They really are, you know, a superior vehicle. Some of them might cost like an extra peso. Depends on the route, depends on the exact vehicle. But the service that you get, the ride that you get is just superior to the older style jeepney. Plus the engines are much better, Euro 4 minimum. Some of them can be better, so better emissions. Anyway, this is the loading unloading area for the jeepneys. So it's meant to be a little bit organized, and instead of having lots of jeeps going around picking up 1 passenger, 2 passengers and going around half empty, they'll use this as a proper terminal, a genuine terminal, and then fill the jeepneys to full capacity. And the nice thing is they've got signs here. So for instance, this one says McLaren by a Taft, and there are various different signs, so it's easy to know which jeepney you have to ride. Now another thing with the jeepneys is, unlike the buses that have a large indoor waiting area, the jeepney waiting area is outside. And if you come here during peak hours, what you'll see is an overspill of people going out there. So that's another thing that they need to address. Again, these are growing pains. No one's done something like this for, I don't know, for a long time, maybe ever. This is what they call the first land port. So there will be some growing pains, but I think they will solve them. Like I said, the important thing is not to sweep them under the carpet and pretend they don't exist. Instead, acknowledge the problems and then find solutions. And I have to say, I really do like the design of PITX with the flags and everything like that. It really does look nice. So if you look over here, there's a queue of buses, and the reason for that is there's actually quite a lot of buses waiting to go into PITX. So let's go take a look. The good thing is that they built PITX with this in mind. So there's a lot of space to queue buses and to get everyone in the right place and in order. The bays are numbered, and that's how people know which bus to get on. I guess there must not be a super high volume of passengers, because These buses don't look that full yet. That might also be why there's a queue, but let's go take a look inside and see how it is. And to give you an idea of how much the parking is going to cost here, you can see cars, first 2 hours 40 pesos, succeeding hours 20. Motorcycles until 12 midnight is 40 pesos. And here on the third floor you can see they're loading up the UV Express. So here at the interchange you have buses, you have Jeepneys, you have UV Express. You just have to know where to go, and that's where some commuters are getting a little bit confused at the moment. So I'm sure once they install more signs it will be a lot easier for people. And I really do get why people are complaining, because imagine you come up from the escalator and then you come out here, you wouldn't have any idea what's going on. So definitely more signage is needed, but that's a very easy fix. You can do that within a week or two. The temporary signs you can do in a day or two. So hopefully we'll see some big improvement.
Ang box ay aalis ng 9:30 na umaga. Maraming salamat.
So of course, aside from these screens here, you also have the PA system, and it's very clear. You can actually understand what they're saying, unlike the airport. These screens are very useful to let you know, like this one, boarding, departed, where it's going, what time, the bay number and everything like that. Now you might remember in my previous video we checked out the restrooms, and they have a paid option which has a shower inside. When they first opened they weren't charging any money, they were just letting everyone use it for free, but for today it appears to be closed for some reason. This one here is still open, all gender, so you can still go in here and use this one, male and female. It has one stall and one urinal, but for some reason these ones here are actually closed, which is a shame because these are the really nice ones that have the shower inside. Maybe there's some kind of maintenance going on, maybe there's a water issue or something like that. Let's take a look at the Wi-Fi and see if it's still working. Last time it was super fast. Okay, that's still a very good speed. I can't remember how fast it was last time, but 50 meg is good enough. Let's close this and try open YouTube. Now let's set it to 1080p and see if it can jump through okay. 1080, a little bit of buffering to load, but not too bad. Let's try again. A couple of seconds, it's pretty fast. So yeah, Wi-Fi is still working very well. You can see they have these trolleys here also if you need help with your luggage, and a wheelchair, that's always helpful. And of course at every entrance they have security. They have the metal detector, plus manual pat downs, plus looking out for any suspicious behavior or any body language that might give someone away. Security is always a plus because it's for the benefit of everybody. And this is new since I was here last time. There's a bench store. I don't know how many food places are open yet, because that's another thing that people are concerned about. Is there enough places to buy food and drinks? So yeah, let's keep looking around, see what else has changed. I just bumped into this lady here also. She's going around with this sign just alerting people where to go for the UV Express, so that's good. So they definitely are making an effort to address these concerns from the public. And here you go, another sign. Obviously this is just temporary, but people who unload from the buses, they know where to go to the ground floor to proceed to the city buses or the Jeepneys. Again, it's a temporary sign, but it gets the job done. I like this also. It tells you the routes of the city buses, the AUVs or the UV Express and the Jeepneys. And at that information point they have these leaflets. I recommend everyone grab one of these because it's got the route map, it's got a layout of the property, it's got more information inside about where you need to go and what's available. They should probably hand these to everyone getting off the bus, because for the first, well, it's only been open for a month, people are going to be a little bit confused, so maybe just hand these out to everyone. Very useful leaflet. And I see the elevators in operation now also, so that's good for those with disabilities or the elderly. On the ground level here the toilets are open. You have all gender, you have women, you have men. I don't think I'm going to be able to shoot video today inside because of course there's a lot of people using these facilities. And at the end here there is a PWD toilet. It's got a nice wide door, so if you're in a wheelchair you'll be able to get inside. And you can see there's also a water fountain here. The thing I like about this is it's actually plumbed in, unlike the ones at the airport where they put the water barrel on top and then when it runs out of water, well, no more. This one is plumbed in permanently and it has an inline filter. And you'll notice it is plugged into the wall because it's chilled, so you get cold water. Another thing I like is it has a spout for filling bottles, or it has a little nozzle there where it will shoot out and you can just use your mouth. So I'm a big fan of these water fountains. So you can see there are a few food and drink places already. I have Coffee Spot, Buko Juan, Gloria's and Mango. Not a lot of options, but again, it's only a month, so it's good that at least there's something here. You can get some food if you want. What I might try is the coffee frap from this one, although in the past I found that many of these small stores don't really do very well with coffee, but I might try it anyway. Hopefully it's okay, because it's not cheap. It's going to cost like 95 or 110. Further along is another little food place underneath the escalator, so I guess it won't get in anyone's way. What do they have? Hungarian sausage, Frank sausage, breakfast sausage. So it's all hot dogs basically. I was a little bit confused because I was thinking the last time I went here you had to scan a ticket to go through the gate. So I went and asked them what's going on. They explained to me, well, these are city buses, and for a city bus you buy your ticket on the bus itself. If it's a provincial bus, you go to one of the payment terminals, which I'll show you in a moment. They give you a ticket and then you scan it and the gate will open and let you through. So a little bit of confusion for me, but now I understand. And over here is one of those points where you're going to buy your ticket. They have one here, they have another one further along. They have a lot of them throughout PITX, so the queues should be able to be manageable even during peak hours. So over here you have another information desk, and then you have another area where you can buy your tickets. Like I mentioned, you only have to buy a ticket for the provincial bus. If you're getting the city bus, you can just board it immediately and then buy your ticket on the bus. If you compare this to the bus terminals along EDSA or in Cobalt, it's a world of difference. Here you have the aircon, you have the Wi-Fi, you have the comfortable chairs, you have lots of staff to advise you. It really is a world of difference, but there are some growing pains. They will be solved, and I think people will, they'll enjoy this eventually and they'll appreciate what this has to offer.